Hello and welcome to Star Wars Senate. I'm Chris. We've got a lot to talk about today. And by a lot to talk about, I mean everything that happened at EA Play, which was an event held by EA obviously in Los Angeles and London at the same time, and they had different segments between each location, which was quite an interesting take on the usual E3 nonsense we get every year. So this was EA's new event in response to them backing out of their usual E3 appearance. And it's quite refreshing, but it's still more of the same in a way. We still get the videos, we still get the random cameo appearances, but it was nice to see a wee change. So obviously, as you can expect, EA talked about Star Wars. Obviously that's why you're here, to watch something about Star Wars. And in particular, their slate of games that they've got coming up. They've got Battlefront 2 into 2017, they've got a Visceral game in 2018, and they've got a game by Respawn after that, and they've not really defined anything apart from the fact that Battlefront 2 is happening. So it was interesting to see where they moved on from here. And we didn't really get much. We got about 3.5 minutes of Star Wars things. There was some gameplay footage. There was more of the same from previous E3s where we get kind of a look at some people's screens and a look at a few game environments, but there's nothing more than that. But I'm going to run down through the different things that were shown. So for me, obviously been a huge Battlefront fan. I was excited to see what they've got, looking forward to with Bespin, the Death Star, and the as of yet unannounced DLC that they've got planned for winter. So as well as that, I wanted to see something from Battlefront 2, considering it's coming out next year. And we got that. I'd say we got plenty of it. We got some new footage from Bespin. We got Lando with his little crew. We got some cloud cars flying over. We got to see the corridor in which Vader and Luke have their showdown. And this to me said many positive things, that that's a good area for close quarters combat, and cloud cars are going to be a thing in Fighter Squadron. But there's a few other things that I saw, and one of them was jumping in to an X-Wing. So this is an actual animation of a character climbing up steps and jumping into the X-Wing. And I don't know where that's from. Is that Battlefront 2? Or is that something that they're going to add to Battlefront 1? To be honest, it's going to be Battlefront 2. Everyone knows it's going to be Battlefront 2 because they're not going to give us any more than they've already given us. But apart from that, we get an off-screen video of some low-res X-Wing flying through an unfinished Death Star trench, which, I mean, is extremely exciting. What more are you wanting from the Death Star DLC? To relive all of these events from the films, and that's what we're clearly going to get. And another thing we saw off a screen was Bosk. So this is one of the bounty hunters, the reptilian looking fellow, and we get to see a character model of him, and we also get to see the back of him running through what looks almost like Tatooine. And it's a desert planet, and there's some unfinished elements there, but it's something to look forward to for probably Battlefront 2 at this point, but maybe not, considering we've not been shown what characters will be released for each DLC, and it's possible that this is part of the Death Star DLC as well, which would be really exciting. I can't wait for it to come out. So as well as someone entering an X-Wing, we also get to see someone with a VR headset on, which just points blatantly towards the fact that Battlefront 2 will be VR supported. I mean, that's great for people who have VR, but I don't have VR. But it's nice to see that they're kind of experimenting with things, trying to really enforce that this is going to be a Star Wars experience. and I can't wait to see what they come up with. So one final thing I picked up from this small part about Battlefront and Motive Studios in particular was the Star Destroyer bridge. And is this going to be part of the VR experience? Is this one of the new game modes? So after all the Battlefront stuff, we get a view into Respawn Entertainment. These are the guys that done Titanfall, which they showed previously at the event. And we don't get much, but we do get some really exciting footage. We get footage of two guys having a mocap lightsaber battle. So that says to me we're getting a Jedi game. Is this Knights of the Old Republic? Is this another Knights game? Maybe. But it's another step forward into something different within the things that EA are doing. They're not just going to do Battlefront over and over again with different skins or different characters. It's going to be a whole wide range of things, and the different things that they can do with Jedis or Sith or even anything in between is amazing, and I honestly can't wait for what they come up with. So next we get Capital Games, who are shown to be making more things for Galaxy of Heroes, and I don't know about you, but I've never played that game. I might give it a shot eventually, but it's not seeming to me that it's the kind of game I'd play. But fair enough if you do want to play it. So I'll kind of move on for this. They didn't really show much of anything. They just showed possibly new characters. I've not really been keeping up. But they show the Rancor and teams fighting against each other, but that might just be the general gameplay. Another game I'm not really too invested in is the Old Republic, and this hasn't really been on the radar much at all, and they're showing that there's still support for it and that they're still going to have things releasing in the next year for it, so it's positive that they're still holding on, but they're eventually going to have to let it go, so I don't feel like this is the right time for me to get into it. So besides Battlefront, the one thing I'm looking for in Star Wars is the Visceral game headed up by Amy Hennig, and this is the person who was one of the head writers on the Uncharted series, and this is a game series that I hold very close to my heart. And the possibilities that she could have with the Star Wars universe with new characters is incredible, and I can't wait to see what happens. We get to see a little step into that. We get some concept art of people facing off inside a doorway on what looks like Tatooine. And the next part is a strange, unrendered game environment where the architecture almost looks as if it's from Naboo. It might not be. It might be something completely different. It might just be in my head. I'm putting that together. But it's something interesting, and we get to see that there's a TIE fighter there. So it's clearly not the Clone Wars era. It's something like Galactic Civil War. And as I was pushing for in the previous Senate video, is building up of the Galactic Civil War, where it wasn't just this one family fighting against their dad. It was soldiers across the galaxy fighting for their freedom or fighting for their government to stay in power. And I feel like Visceral have the capability to capture this. One of the last things we see from Visceral games is footage of a character walking out a building into what looks like an Empire-controlled area or an Empire-controlled city on possibly Tatooine. So it could be a Tatooine-based game, but we get to see the banners and the Star Destroyer and the TIE fighters flying over, and it really paints a picture of oppression, and that this is a guy who's in the shadows. And this to me could create an incredible game, because I want to see what it's like in the underground of Star Wars, not just up in the heights of a soldier on the front line. I want to see someone really and the grit, trying to fight for their lives, not just on the front line, but in their homes, in their own cities, trying to fight back these people who they believe are destroying everything they stand for. And it's really showing the variety within the Star Wars universe, and I want to see more of this variety. We can't just always have lightsabers and the Skywalkers. I mean, they're amazing, but we need more. And it looks like we're getting that. So in all, these clips seem to focus on the fact that EA are trying to bring the Star Wars world to life. And so far they've captured that perfectly with Battlefront, its amazing sounds and visuals. Now they just need to get the story down. And with Titanfall now having a campaign mode, why can't Battlefront? So they need to do the right thing and give it a campaign mode and make us really feel this Star Wars environment. So thanks for watching Star Wars Senate. This one was just a quick one about Star Wars EA Play. And if you want to watch any more of the Star Wars Senates, I'll put them down here. And if you just want to explore my channel, I'll put a random video down here that you can click on. And as always, make sure you subscribe down here. So thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.